And these Democrats will rue the day they decided to use lawfare to stop a presidential candidate. I'm talking about tit for tat. You just wait, and it won't be Hunter Biden the next time. It's going to be Joe Biden. It could potentially still be Barack Obama. It could still potentially be Hillary Clinton. We're going to have to look at what the statutes of limitations are on the various crimes they surely committed. We're going to have to look at passing laws to revive those dead crimes, felonies or misdemeanors, so that those cases can be brought out of time. That's what may be in the interests of justice, just like they did for E. Jean Carroll with a New York State law that was passed so that she could sue him. That's what happened. Turnabout is fair play. And John Yoo, an amazing lawyer who worked in the Bush administration, Department of Justice, has a great piece out today talking about how that's the only way they'll learn. The only way to save the republic now is to give them a taste of their own medicine. That's it. That's it. They tasted blood today. They're the wolves with the bloody piece of meat in their mouths. That doesn't stop the wolf from coming back for more. The only thing that will stop him is if he loses a limb of his own. And I'm sorry, but the Democrats started this game.
Seen it, or what some of these liberals used to accuse Trump supporters of doing, they are doing just that. Taking a look at this lady, you just saw, why do you care what white women think? I cannot wrap my head around why these highly educated women care more about what their dad or their white men around them think than their own interests. The same talking point like Joy Real. Insane, right?
I think we severely underestimated the amount of women around us who will never be able to stop seeking the approval and validation of the white men around them. And y'all really exposed yourself with the results of this election. These white women who voted against our interests, these are the women that we went to high school with, that we were best friends with in college, that we played sports with our whole lives. But they chose to listen to their dads. They chose to listen to their boyfriends or their husbands. They chose to put the interests of the white men around them in their lives above the interests of women, above the interests of minorities, above the interests of oppressed people. I will never be able to wrap my mind around that. How you can be a highly educated woman, see how women around you are being treated, see how minorities around you are being treated, and still choose to value the opinion of the white men around you the most and vote for their interests. One of the most important women in my life married a rich white man, and she chose to vote for his interests instead of the interests of her 3 daughters. The silence from all of these women right now who could not bring themselves to vote for Harris, to vote for another woman in this election, is shameful, and we will not forget.
According to this article from the Daily Mail, the Donald Trump critics and ESP and host is blaming the pair Helvig in part for creating division between men and women. In particular, Smith was upset that the former First Lady told an audience that a vote for Trump is a vote against us. If we don't agree with you, we are against you. Smith questioned, how do you think the men fare about that? So we have to do what you tell us to do, otherwise.
I was surprised at how lopsided it was. I was not surprised by the outcome. Right. I saw the outcome coming from a mile away. You have to take into account, listen, we respect our president, Joe Biden, but here's the reality. He got into office. He promised to be a transitional president, to be a stopgap to pave the way for somebody else to come on board. Into the midterms, it was supposed to be a red wave. It did not happen. The Democrats was flying high. He felt the momentum because he was the incumbent. And instead of leaving, he decided to stay. Yeah. When he decided to stay, the Democrats were in a quandary because they were expecting him to leave. Now he wants to stay. They're around him. They're seeing the fastball has dissipated to some degree. They're seeing that he's not what he used to be. And what do you do about it? You grease the skids. There's no primary for him to experience. You let him go on stage June 27th, and clearly he was exposed. 3.5 weeks later, he's forced and compelled to step away because donors to the Democratic establishment, they were not going to support that. And then Kamala Harris is inserted. I don't blame her one bit. I thought she did a phenomenal job.
Yep.
She went all out. She did what she could. But you can't overcome that kind of situation. And remember, there's two C words that are incredibly important in America. Capitalism is one. Competition is another, because it's a metaphor for capitalism in a lot of people's eyes. Because you were inserted, even though you were the vice president and it was the Biden-Harris administration, you had folks who are independent. I'm not talking about those on the right, and I'm not talking about those on the left.
What Smith is saying here, it might make a lot of sense for people who are struggling to comfort themselves after this. Where was Smith to give out this advice? He has always been there in support of what she was doing. All the campaigns have been following him all through. But there is one mistake this perfect you understand. They didn't inform Kamala that stop attacking Trump. All what she did was to go after Trump. Oh, this all through Democrat. They forgot that they were supposed to pass that message.
The last time we saw her in a primary was 4 years ago, and she didn't even make it to Iowa. They used that as an excuse to point to her level of inexperience. Then you got the war in Russia and Ukraine. You got the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Hamas and Hezbollah and all of that stuff. And you had Trump using codes. Look, do you want her? Where is she? Where's the interviews? Where's she showing herself? Where's the tough questions? Where's the interrogation? And he leaned on certain things. And you knew people were going to gravitate to that, because right now, as divided as our country is, fear comes associated with that. And because that fear was there, he fed off of it.
Yeah.
And people bought it, hook, line, and sinker. And that's why he's the president.
It is crazy to actually see these ladies listening. He is educating them. They were spewing, attacking Trump every single day. They will never say things like this because they cannot pass out good political advice. All they do was Trump, 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 Trump. Now, Kamala refused to take interviews. The View will back them up. Kamala refused to even, when they realized the polls were now worse, which I don't even trust the polls, Kamala rushed the View, and they think God was here when a question surfaced.
Many years ago.
Then the decisive result of this election gives us not just an answer to the question as to what Americans want to do along those lines, it also gives us a really big to-do list.
For healthcare.
Let's keep validating the same outlets that continuously undermine us at every single turn. Sometimes I have to beg politicians for interviews for my channel for months and months and months and months and still don't even hear back.
He's now understanding what is happening. The mainstream media cannot make you to succeed at this time. We saw what Trump did, going to podcasts, Joe Rogan. Kamala never did that. Oh, CNN, The View. Who is watching The View?
Dear Mon Pa MAGA, so you're out there driving around in your F-1 $50 left in your bank account, honking and shouting shit about owning the libs, blaring country music and letting your 3 American flags on your back gate get ripped to absolute shreds by wind and weather because you finally stuck it to the elites by electing a billionaire who has just tasked 2 other billionaires with taking shit you rely on away so that they can make more billions.
States.
Canada was put on notice. Mexico was put on notice. And you have seen the response. I reported a few hours ago about Justin Trudeau. How he's receiving massive backlash on social media, allowing this to happen for a very long time. Now, he is bending the knee. If you never saw some of the clips, let me just replay it.
It was an excellent conversation.
How are you talking about your relationship with Donald Trump?
All right. Football game. Good luck, guys.
to better secure its borders. Would you support that?
Why haven't they done it? They broke the border. Justin Trudeau broke the border. We didn't have these problems before Justin Trudeau.
Does anybody else think it's funny how Donald Trump has officially done more for Canada, and he's not even in office yet, than Justin Trudeau, our Prime Minister, has done for the country in years?
The border is open. Same issues the U.S. is facing.
Bonjour tout le monde. I had a good call with Donald Trump last night again.
Trudeau is at the end of his time.
The Prime Minister dances while Montreal burns.
Max officers, and the Prime Minister was nowhere to be found.
Justin Trudeau tweeted to Taylor Swift asking her to add a stop of her Eras tour in Canada.
Have a nice Sunday.
Doing this. That's what she did.
NBC News can now project that Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race and will return to the White House.
And Donald Trump will be our next president.
Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
CNN projects that Donald Trump has been elected president, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris and making a political comeback unlike any in modern American politics.
You know what? Donald Trump likes my music.
Please register to vote.
Look at this. She's only up by 15 points.
Got Taylor Swift.
Kamala Harris finally came out of hiding